everyone, so let's move towards our today's topic, which is
the physiology, and that is digestion process. Okay, now how the digestion process takes place? It is the process which takes place for the food. Okay, the digestion for the food, and it takes place from the mouth. It starts from the mouth and it ends after the excretion process. Okay, now when we intake the when we eat food, what happen? We eat food through our mouth, obviously. So in mouth the process start, and then obviously it moves towards the pharynx, then esophagus, then stomach, then small intestine, and the whole process continues. Now in this lecture we will gonna talk about the esophagus part and the pharynx part and the mouth part. Okay, what happened with the food in these parts? Okay, now first of all, what happened when we eat food? Like I said, obviously we eat food through our mouth. So in our mouth, in our oral cavity, teeth are present, and these teeth are incisor, canine, premolar, molar. So what happened? The food will start, our lower jaw moves, which is mandible bone, that will move downward and upward, due to which the chewing process start. Okay, and due to which the food will become the food is in the process of chewing. Okay, and that is called as mastication. Okay, so first process is mastication. The very easy thing is M for mastication, M for mouth. So inside the mouth, in mouth, the food will the chewing process start, and that the chewing process of food will start, and that process is called as mastication. Now why we eat food? Okay, why we eat food? Because of appetite. What is appetite? Appetite is the desire of food, or in other words you can say hunger. Okay, so when we are hungry, we feel that we have to take we have to eat food. So क्या होता है, हम खाना खाते हैं और हमारी भूख चली जाती है, तो हमें भूख लगती है और फिर हम खाना खाते हैं. That is appetite. Okay, so it basically occurs, the first two steps are mastication and swallowing. Okay, mastication mouth में होता है, swallowing obviously we will discuss later, but in this lecture I am first talking about mastication. So mastication, like I said, it will occur by the help of teeth, and chewing process start. And now what happened due to chewing process, due to mastication, the food is converted into, the food will convert into a ball-like mixture of the food, ball-like mixture or a paste, that is called as bolus. Okay, ball-like structure होता है, ball-like mixture बन जाता है, that is called as bolus, and that bolus will enter into the pharynx. Okay, behind posterior to the mouth it will enter, and it will enter into the pharynx, and the process of swallowing will start. How that process start, I will tell you after this process. That mastication हुई mouth में, ठीक है, बोलस बन गया. अब बोलस जाता है posterior part में, posteriorly move करता है, और जैसे ही वो posteriorly move करता है, swallowing का process start हो जाता है. Now what is swallowing? Swallowing is basically divided into two parts. Okay, you can also say that deglutition. Okay, now what, due to deglutition or due to swallowing process, the food will due to this phase, the food will move from the pharynx to the stomach. Okay, so in short, if I tell you, in this lecture we are talking about the journey of the food from our mouth till stomach. Okay, how it reaches till in the stomach. Okay, so it will first enter into the mouth, mastication occur, chewing process होगा, then obviously वो pharynx में जाएगा. कैसे जाएगा? Now as you know that posteriorly the mouth consists of a soft palate, and that is uvula part भी मौजूद होता है, जो लटक रहा होता है. So as soon as the bolus will reach that part, the soft palate part, the soft palate will move upward, and that block the nasal cavity. But before that, the thing is, the swallowing part, the swallowing phase is further divided into two parts. One is involuntary part and another is voluntary part. First is voluntary part. What is voluntary part? Voluntary part is the part which is in our hand. As the name indicates, it is voluntary. Okay, it is not automatic. So what happened? The bolus from the mouth will reach the posterior part of the mouth so that it can enter into the pharynx. Now, as soon as it enters into the pharynx, it will become automatic. As soon as it crosses the soft palate, it will become automatic, and that is called as involuntary phase. So first stage, which is very short, that is voluntary phase. The movement of the bolus from mouth to from mouth to the bolus will enter from the mouth to the when it crosses the soft palate, it will become automatic, and the process of the when the bolus enters into the pharynx, involuntary process start. Okay, now involuntary phase. What is involuntary phase? Involuntary phase takes place in the pharynx. Okay, like I said, the mastication is taking place in the anterior part of the mouth, then it moves towards the posterior part, which is like voluntary phase of the swallowing part of the digestion process, swallowing process. And then after crossing the mouth, after reaching inside the pharynx, the automatic process start of for the food, and that is called as involuntary phase. Now, the involuntary phase, which I told you, it takes place in pharynx as well as esophagus. What is esophagus? It is connected with the pharynx. Okay, so what happened? The whole process is like that. First of all, nasal cavity and oral cavity are meeting together in the pharynx. Okay, and then from pharynx, laryngopharynx is connected. From laryngopharynx, two things are connected: esophagus and larynx. Larynx के थ्रू रेस्पिरेशन होती है, बिकॉज लैरिंग्स इज कनेक्टेड विद ट्रैकिया, एंड ऑब्वियसली लैरिंग्स के अंदर वोकल कॉर्ड्स भी होते हैं. इफ आई टॉक अबाउट esophagus, so esophagus is connected with the stomach, and then obviously duodenum, and the whole digestion process starts. So food को कहाँ जाना है? esophagus में जाना है, not larynx. So for that you have to block the larynx. Okay, now what happened? The amazing thing is, okay, like I said, first we will gonna talk about the pharyngeal phase. Obviously the food will enter into the pharynx. So what happened? This phase, the pharyngeal stage, transport the food. The journey of the food from the pharynx to the esophagus is due to this pharyngeal stage. This is included in the pharyngeal stage. Now in the pharynx there are some nerve supply, trigeminal nerve and glossopharyngeal nerve. Now what happened? They will transmit the sensory nerves as soon as the bolus reach in the pharynx. What happened? That nerve supply indicates will give the signal to the brainstem, and then through a sensory supply of trigeminal and glossopharyngeal nerve, and from the motor supply of the brainstem. As soon as the brainstem as soon as the sensory impulse reaches to the brainstem will order the muscles of the pharynx to perform their function. And how they will order the muscles of the pharynx? They will order the muscles by transmitting the impulse through 5th, 9th and 10th cranial nerve. So sensory nerve क्या है? ट्राइजेमिनल और ग्लोसोफेरेंजियल नर्व. और जो मोटर नर्व है वो क्या है? 5th, 9th एंड 10th नर्व. ओके, अब ये हो गया. 5th, 9th और 10th नर्व की तरफ से मोटर सेंसेशन आएगी फेरिंग्स के मसल के लिए, ताकि वो फेरिंग्स के मसल अकॉर्डिंगली एक्ट करें. नाउ व्हाट हैपन टू द मसल्स ड्यू टू ऑल दीज इम्पल्सेस? व्हाट हैपन? द सॉफ्ट पैलेट, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल the thing like the uvula. Okay, so uvula will block the nasal cavity to prevent the food from entering into the nasal cavity. Okay, and at the same point the pharyngeal muscles start contracting. Okay, which is also known as palatopharyngeal muscle. Okay, so they will pull towards each other, and they will cover the opening of the larynx. Okay, the palatopharyngeal muscle will pull towards each other, and they will block the opening of the larynx, so that food cannot be enter into the larynx. At the same point, at the same time when the pharyngeal muscles are contracting and they will covering the opening of the larynx also contract, the walls of the larynx also contracts, and the vocal cords meet each other, and they will block the opening of the, they will help in blocking the opening of the larynx. So this is the whole process, which why this process is present in our body, to prevent the food from entering into our into the trachea, okay, into larynx and then trachea. So to prevent the food from entering into the trachea, into the larynx, we have to do that thing, and the muscles are contracting of the laryngeal muscles, and laryngeal muscles are contracting, pharyngeal muscles are contracting, so that the opening of the larynx will block. And at the same point, now another most interesting point, as soon as the laryngeal muscle contracts, laryngeal muscle जैसे ही contract होते हैं, इसकी वजह से जो बराबर में, क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली ट्रैकिया आगे पीछे ईसोफेगस है, तो ईसोफेगस इसके पीछे है, तो ईसोफेगस की जो डायलेशन है, ओपनिंग है, वो खुल जाती है, डायलेट हो जाती है, ठीक है. नाउ ड्यू टू दैट इट विल बी मोर ईजी फॉर द बोलस, इट विल बी मोर ईजी फॉर द फूड टू एंटर इनटू द ईसोफेगस. ओके, सो दिस एंटायर प्रोसेस ऑफ द बोलस will enter so the entire process ends of the pharyngeal process, and then the bolus is enter into the esophagus. Now this entire process is taking place in 6 seconds from the pharynx till the esophagus. Inside the esophagus, as soon as it reaches the esophagus, this whole process is in 6 seconds. ओके, सो इस दौरान रेस्पिरेशन हमारी रुक जाती है. इसमें कोई गलत बात नहीं है, क्योंकि जैसे मैं आपसे अभी बात कर रहा हूँ, ठीक है, या हम बात करते हैं यूजुअली, तो उस दौरान भी हमारी रेस्पिरेशन का जो सिस्टम है वो इंटरप्ट होता है. तो इसमें कोई डेंजरस बात नहीं है, ठीक है, क्योंकि वो 6 सेकेंड्स के लिए होता है, विच इज़ नॉर्मल. ओके, तो 6 सेकेंड, 6 to 7 सेकेंड्स, किसी किताब में 7 सेकेंड लिखा है, तो 6 to 7 सेकेंड्स में ये पूरा का पूरा प्रोसेस या पूरा का पूरा फूड esophagus में enter हो जाता है. Now as soon as it enters into the esophagus, the most easiest thing starts, and that is esophageal stage. Now in esophageal stage, the muscle of the esophagus start contracting, and their contraction is called as peristalsis. What is peristalsis? Peristalsis is the contraction of the digestive tract, so that it will help also in like mixing the food, but the most important feature of the peristalsis is the movement. Okay, the movement of the food from the pharynx till the stomach, and that is called as esophageal stage. Okay, and peristalsis is helping in this process. Okay, so first of all, primary peristalsis occur, in which the whole food will enter into the stomach from esophagus. But if in case some food is left in the esophagus, so what happens? Secondary peristalsis movement start. That means another wave of the contraction, and another again the muscles of the like I said, esophagus will start contracting, and that is called as secondary peristalsis. Okay, so this was the whole topic, due to which the food is the journey of the food from our mouth till the stomach. So basically what happened, like you know, esophagus is connected with the stomach, so now the food enters into the stomach. Now how it will enter, we will tell you in the I will tell you in the next lecture. But one more point which is very important, that is lower esophageal sphincter. Now in the lower part of the esophagus, where the stomach and the esophagus are connected, there is a sphincter, there is a muscle. As soon as it will close, okay, so there are 2 points which I forgot to tell you. One is lower esophageal sphincter. So lower esophageal sphincter बंद होता है, ठीक है. नाउ जैसे ही बोलस एंटर होता है ना esophagus में, तो वो डायलेट हो जाती है, ठीक है. वो जो है ना मसल की जो स्पिंस्टर है, लोअर esophageal sphincter, वो खुल जाता है ताकि फूड स्टमक में एंटर हो सके, ठीक है, वरना वो बंद होता है यूजुअली. एंड वन मोर थिंग विच आई फॉरगॉट टू टेल यू वाज अबाउट esophagus opening. The opening of the esophagus, the upper esophageal opening, the upper esophageal sphincter is always closed. Why? Why it is closed? It is closed because respiration is always taking place as compared to food, एज़ कम्पेयर टू डाइजेशन प्रोसेस. ओके, हम खा तो हर वक्त नहीं रहे, हम सांस हर वक्त ले रहे हैं. तो जब खाने का प्रोसेस होता है तब थोड़ी देर के लिए हमारी ट्रैकिया लैरिंग्स बंद होती हैं और खाने का प्रोसेस हो जाता है बस फॉर फ्यू सेकेंड्स. और उस दौरान भी रेस्पिरेशन हो रही होती है लेकिन कुछ सेकेंड्स के लिए बीच बीच में बंद होती है. वरना इफ़ आई टॉक अबाउट यूजुअल थिंग, सो जब हम खाना नहीं खा रहे होते तो हमारी ईसोफेगस बंद होती है, अपर ईसोफेजियल ओपनिंग क्लोज होती है. सो दिस वाज द होल टॉपिक रिगार्डिंग दिस होल थिंग, इंजेक्शन ऑफ फूड. टिल देन वर्क हार्ड, स्टडी हार्ड एंड गुड लक. टेक केयर, बाय बाय, थैंक यू.